I feel like that's something that is super common in this day and age, to just like, you know, if you like scroll to the very end and that's where it's at. So I'm not just allowing myself to pull up the app at any time of the day and just look at it. And one of the reasons is because, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna have another little chit chat type video. We don't have a ton of time, so today's video is short and sweet, but I'm gonna be sharing 5 habits that I have that enable me to use social media, my phone, the internet, all of the things for my business, to advertise my business, grow my business, run my business, communicate with people in my business, gain clients for my business, all of those things. How I'm able to use my phone to do all those things, but still have really healthy boundaries and not end up wasting a bunch of time on it, and use my time the most effectively while I'm utilizing all of these amazing resources for my business. I think that this is something that's really important to talk about because social media can be such an amazing tool, and obviously every business in 2023 needs to have at least some sort of online presence today. And I know I've made a lot of money from YouTube in particular, but just from all social medias. You can make so much money from them for your business. But if we don't have healthy boundaries in place while using them, then instead of being a tool to help you make money and grow your business, I think it can turn into something that's actually wasting money, because you end up wasting time. Time is money. And also just for like your mental headspace, I think that without having these boundaries, I know for me personally, maybe not everyone's like this, but I know for me, if I don't have these boundaries in place, it's not good for my I don't really know what to explain it as, except for just saying my peace. I feel like my peace levels are the highest when I have these boundaries in place. They definitely affect how I feel. So without further ado, I have my tea. Grab your beverage of choice and let's get into today's video. A little disclaimer, I'm definitely not saying like these are the rules, this is what everyone should be doing. There is no one right or wrong way to do this. This is going to be like setting up boundaries with your phone, the apps that you use for your business, all of those things. It's going to look so personal from person to person because of where you're at in your business and your life. And this is just what works for me right now in this particular season of life that I'm in. Obviously, this could change. This could very well change, and things could look very different in a different season. Actually, you know what? There is a 6th habit that I just thought of that I'm going to throw in there at the end. So be sure to stay tuned until the end today. You're not gonna wanna miss anything. If you are new here, welcome. My name's Mariah. I'm a real estate agent here in Oregon with Real Broker. And on this channel, we post videos every week, just sharing like the back end of our business, what we're learning, kind of like documenting as we go, I guess you could say. The first thing that I do is, let me just explain a little background to you before we get into all these points. So I used to use a lot more social media, a lot more for my business, if that makes sense. And then I took a break for, I don't know how long, I wanna say maybe a year, pretty much just completely off. I would download the app every now and then to just post if it was like a holiday and I wanted to post something, but I really was not actively, consistently on Instagram and Facebook. But while I was away, I still kept posting on YouTube, because that YouTube is basically the lifeline of our business, and it's where the bulk of our business comes from. And I actually don't really consider YouTube like a social media app necessarily. It's so different than the others for a lot of different reasons. During that time off of those apps, I felt so much peace. I felt so good. I had so much mental clarity and my brain just felt amazing. And I didn't really want to get back on the apps, but I felt a tug a little bit to get on them a little bit more often for my business. And so I did, and I actually didn't think, prior to this, I didn't think it was even possible to sustain that level of peace while still having an active, consistent presence on these apps, just because I hadn't experienced it before. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe you don't even know what you're missing out on and you've never experienced peace like that. But I had so much peace, my brain was so clear, and I felt so good. However, since getting back on the apps and implementing these things that I'm going to talk about, I now do believe, because I'm living it, that you can be on these apps consistently, run your business with them consistently, use them consistently for your business, and still keep peace. For me, it's just, I need to have these boundaries. I don't know what that looks like for you because, like I said, everyone's different. You might have need different boundaries, and maybe you need less or more during, this time in your life. So let's finally get into these. The first thing I do is I post and ghost. I am never, ever gonna be posting something on Instagram, for example, and then just scrolling through, waiting around to see who viewed it, or just like posting something to your story and then trying to seeing who viewed it. I just think that's a super unhealthy habit, and it also is a very big time sucker. Another habit that I have is I will, for me personally, sometimes I do this, I'll pull up the app and just post something wherever I'm at throughout the day, but usually I don't really like to have the app open or to just like go on the app all throughout the day randomly, but I do, not always, but sometimes post stories all throughout my day, if that makes sense. So what I will do is I will just take a picture and then save it. If it's something that I'm going to be posting on my story, I will take pictures like throughout the day as I go. And then when I have time, either like during little chunks of time throughout the day, or sometimes even at the very end of the day, I will just post all of those stories at once. If you see me posting like a bunch of stories at once, that's why. It works really well for me. I feel like I just have, I don't know, the most clarity doing it this way. It's actually a hack I heard from someone was giving Instagram tips who was running some sort of, I think it was like an organizing business, and she was talking about what she does, and that's how she does it, mainly just to save time, because she doesn't really have time throughout the day to be like consistently uploading everything. So she'll just like take the shots that she wants to use for her story throughout the day and then upload them all at once at the end of the day. So that is something that I utilize, and it works really well for me. So the fourth thing that I do is I focus on consistency over results. And what I mean by that, this really applies to any social media or YouTube, but instead of focusing on things like vanity metrics and thinking like, okay, if I posted something for my business and it only got a certain amount of likes, so it didn't work, it failed or whatever. I just completely don't even look at those like vanity metrics. And the reason is because that's really not what brings you business. The way I think of Facebook, for example, is if you have 300 friends on Facebook, you can still see success. If you have 300 followers on Instagram, you can still get business from using these apps. I think of it as just more of a way to stay in front of consistently your past clients, sphere of influence, people you know, and just remind them that you're in the business. Like, I kind of think of it as sending mailers or farming in a way, because if you are sending out 300 mailers, for example, to a certain neighborhood every single month, to just like random houses every month, that's kind of similar to just posting consistently and showing up in front of 300 people on Facebook. Very similar concept. You're basically just farming. From what I've seen, you really don't need a lot of views on a video to get clients from it. You just need to be in front of the right eyeballs. I sold $1 million house from one of my YouTube channels when I only had less than 500 subscribers at the time, and the videos would get like 20 views. Try not to focus on the vanity metrics, because I think that that's something that can kind of like get in your head and discourage you if you're using social media for your business. But at the end of the day, that really doesn't matter. Likes does not equal like the amount of like homes sold in our business, especially. You definitely can make a lot of money from these platforms without having a huge audience. Okay, so the fifth thing that I do is I just straight up take breaks every now and then. This is something I don't necessarily plan, but I will just delete the app. By the way, I always stay logged out. I'm never just like logged into Instagram. So this is what I do actually. I stay logged out, and it's actually not on my home screen. It's, you know, if you like scroll to the very end, and that's where it's at. So you can like delete apps from your home screen that they're still on your computer, You can delete apps from your home screen that they're still on your phone, if that makes sense. And so that's what I do with Instagram and Facebook. They're not on my home screen, but I usually do have the apps downloaded. I'm just not logged in all the time because I'm not just allowing myself to pull up the app at any time of the day and just look at it. And one of the reasons is because in this generation, this culture, it's really common to be waiting in line. Say you're just waiting in line to get a coffee at a coffee shop, for example. And what do? You have like a few spare seconds. You just pull up your phone and you scroll through Instagram mindlessly. And we're not thinking our thoughts. We're not like looking at other people and engaging with them or like starting conversations with strangers. And to me, that's just a habit that I wanted to break, and I did break, thankfully, and I just don't have that habit anymore of just like scrolling. As I was saying, I feel like that's something that is super common in this day and age, to just like have a few spare seconds, be waiting, be in the car, whatever, and you just like pull up Instagram and start scrolling mindlessly. And it's just a habit I've broken. I don't want to do that. I want to think my thoughts and be present all the time. And so that's why I don't keep the app on my home screen, and I do stay logged out except for when I log in. Now, I do log in every day, but generally I'm only going to be logging in for like specific times throughout the day. So I will log in when I'm responding to DMs and for, talking to other agents, or DMs, potential home buyers and sellers, whatever that looks like. And then 2, if I'm posting something, I will log in. And then besides that, I try not to log in. Usually like in the morning before I start my day, I will log in and kind of just like scroll through and look through things. But that's kind of like the only time that I'm just like randomly scrolling without a purpose, I guess. Okay, but as I was saying, I will randomly take breaks. This isn't something that I plan, but I will just delete the app from my phone and take a break. Not just Instagram, but Facebook, like any social media. I will delete all the apps from my phone every so often and just not go on them at all for, I don't know, sometimes a day, sometimes 3 days, sometimes a whole week. And that is something that I do consistently. So here's my 6th tip. At a certain point of the day, when I'm done working, or, say I was working that day and I don't know, I've been on my phone a lot, I will just put my phone on airplane mode for the rest of the day, especially if it's a time when I'm just like, okay, I'm done with everything and now I'm just going to be present with my family. I will utilize airplane mode, and yeah, it's amazing. I'm gonna end this video here. Thank you for watching. We've been coming on here every single week with new videos, so if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell, and I will see you guys next week.